Are there any pet peeves or common mistakes or misassumptions that you see people making when they put Latin into historical romances? Because I feel like there is a little bit of like a character will have studied Latin at Eton, and so they're using it. And I don't have any context for Latin, so I just take it as it comes.
I don't think I've like noticed anything specific. The question I used to get a lot, like when I was more actively studying, in school was like, well, can you speak Latin? And I would always have to sort of explain to people that you don't learn Latin like you learn like a modern language. Like I have no ability to like rattle off a sentence in Latin. Like I'm learning how to analyze texts and translate in writing. So I think as long as you don't have characters like rattling off like conversation to each other unless they've specifically studied that for some reason. I think it's all good.
Yeah. And did you get to read any new texts for this in Latin just for fun?
I did go back to the poet Catullus, who is a staple of like the high school Latin curriculum. He wrote a lot of love poetry. He's actually a prominent side character in the novel. So I
Mhm.
went back to his poems and sort of read back through them just to like pull out a couple of references here and there to sprinkle in because he does feature in the novel. So
Yeah. Oh, that's really fun.
yeah.
Well, and then we've spent a lot of time talking about the setting, but beyond setting, what would you say draws you into writing a story? Are you more of a dialogue person, a trope person, a character person?
I think really what draws me in is like the romantic and like honestly the sexual dynamic between two characters. Like that's the initial spark for me. And once I sort of have that conceived in my mind, I sort of build the story around it. So like honestly, I love writing sex scenes. So there's, a decent number of those in the story. It's I wouldn't say it's high heat, it's like medium to high heat, but that aspect of romance is one of my favorite, and that's really what sort of creates the rest of the story for me.
Oh, that's so interesting. That's very fun.